Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us today. We are coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Studios, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona, and are brought to you by Russell and Associates. And time now to switch to basketball as we start off the year with men's head coach Todd Eisner. Thanks for joining us here, Coach.
Good to be here.
Let's kind of start out at the beginning of the year with the NSIC polls that come out, and I know that it's probably not where you want to be, but you also probably don't pay too much attention to those polls. But question marks on this team coming into the year just because of some of the pieces that were gone from last season's team and some new players who we don't really know what we're going to expect from those players. What was your thought coming into this season about where you think the team is in the NSIC?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, obviously, when you lose a 5-year starting point guard, and that's strange to say as we have to add the COVID year into all of our statistical analysis, but Dev was a really important piece to what we've done over the years in terms of just being an extension of the coaching staff out on the floor. And then, obviously, Alec Rosner took the opportunity to go transfer Division I, and so those are two really good pieces that we lost on the perimeter, and so we got to find people that are going to fill in, and so we've added some new pieces and obviously some opportunities for some returning players to grow into a more expanded role. And I wasn't really surprised. I think the South has pretty good depth and pretty good parity, and so somebody was going to have to be in the bottom half of the league, and the coaches that voted gave us a vote of 7th place, and now we get the opportunity through 22 games to try to go prove people wrong.
Is it a little bit of a badge of honor that 2 consecutive years now you've had players that go up to Division I that played on your squad?
Yeah, and Kevion had a great year at Valparaiso, averaged 13 points a game. He's playing professionally over in Greece right now, and Alec through, I think, 6 or 7 games is Western Illinois' leading scorer. So this certainly is a badge of honor. But it's also difficult to swallow that you've got really good players in your program that don't stay throughout their eligibility. Yeah. I certainly understand it. They both graduated from Winona State, so they did their jobs in their 4 years here academically. But selfishly, it would have sure been nice to have them through their entire realm of eligibility through the NCAA, and we've had to adjust 2 years in a row because of that.
All right. The first time that we got to see you was against St. Mary's, and I think it opened some people's eyes to what this team maybe can do. An 81-50 win over St. Mary's, and we saw some great performances that night. Your thoughts? I know it was an exhibition game, but your thoughts on how the team performed the first time we got to see them? Well,
I think this team's going to have to decide, pretty early here, and I think we're showing at least to date so far for the most part. We're going to have to be really good defensively. We're not very big, we're not very athletic, so we're going to have a toughness level and a connectedness that just makes us really difficult to play against. And I think throughout the start of the year, we've done a pretty decent job of that. An occasional lapse here throughout a segment or a half, but for the most part, through 6 regular season games, we've done a nice job with that. We've got to get some things straightened out on the offensive end of the floor. We've been not very efficient in terms of scoring the basketball, and so that's got to change, and that's got to change in a hurry. But it was good to see a lot of guys get an opportunity to show us some things against St. Mary's, which led us obviously into the opening weekend down in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your road trips then to begin the year. How did the team perform in those?
Yeah, really pleased. Obviously, Kansas City's a great event. There's a ton of teams from our region that are down at Municipal Auditorium. I got a chance to play obviously Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern from the MIAA. Defended really, really well both days. We were up 10 with 4 minutes to go against Missouri Southern and got outscored 16-0 then to half to go down 6. And really came back in the second half and showed great toughness and kind of chopped away at the lead and got away with a 5-point win there and guarded really well for 40 minutes against Pitt State, and then turned around the next weekend at Parkside and had 2 really good wins against, I think, teams that'll end up being pretty good teams in their leagues moving forward in Parkside and Purdue Northwest.
Then you were 4-0 and you start NSIC play against Upper Iowa. I had to ask a little bit about that game. Obviously up big, and then the buzzer beater at the end. Walk us through your feelings in the second half of that game and seeing Upper Iowa come back.
Yeah, I didn't like our approach to start the half, and I thought that, and I told our guys that, I thought that was the key to the game, is that we had a chance to kind of step on their throats to start the second half, and if we're up 16 at the half and we can get it to 16 or 17, keep it at 16 or 17 or 18 at the first media timeout, I think it's going to be really difficult for them to come back over the last 14 or 15 minutes, and instead they cut it to, I think, 11 or 9 even in the first media timeout, gave them confidence, gave them life, and now we were in a dogfight the rest of the half. Obviously didn't finish the game the way we needed to in the last minute of the game, and in particular the last 30 seconds. I was disappointed in myself. I didn't feel like I did a good job on that last free throw exchange of giving our guys good direction as to how to probably keep the ball out of Hilmer's hands. And if not, at least make him change directions so he's not going on a straight line down the court to give himself a clean look at the rim. And but at the college basketball level, you've got to make free throws, and we were 2 for 6 in the last 30 seconds, so we hurt ourselves in a lot of ways. It was a bad loss. I mean, based on what we had done through the first 39 minutes, and then we've got to figure out a way to bounce back because it's a 22-game meat grinder in the NSIC.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about what this game does for this team, because obviously you can take it a couple ways. You can say, this team came back on us when they shouldn't have, or you can use it as a fire stick, I guess, and just say, this can't happen again. Yeah. This is not us. This is just a fluke and a one-time thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to learn from it. That's, I think, the biggest key is as I told our guys, and they know that, we've probably spent more time on special situations this fall than we have in any other year, and yet we really failed in special situations late in the game. And we foul on a 3-point shot. I mean, that's a cardinal sin. You can't do that. You've obviously got to make free throws at the end of crunch time. Like I said, I didn't put our guys in a great position with 4 seconds to go as to how you don't let somebody bring the ball up the sideline without any real resistance. And so it was learning even for me. I mean, 25 years into it, and I've got to do a better job of like helping our guys. But yeah, I mean, I felt like our guys really struggled, to be real honest with you. We practiced on a little bit on Wednesday before they went home for Thanksgiving. We came back on Friday. We had to take Saturday off, came back on Sunday. I didn't feel like they had a lot of spark to them. And I think that showed a little bit even Monday in the Viterbo game. So we got to shake ourselves. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're going to feel sorry for ourselves, or that's going to cause us to regress in some way, then we're going to pay for it dearly in our league. We've got a great challenge on Thursday night with Mankato, and obviously Saturday on the road at Concordia St. Paul against a team that I think is much improved. So if we let it linger, we'll pay for it. We got to shake ourselves and really come out with a great purpose on Thursday night.
I want to go back to the Viterbo game a little bit, because we just saw that, so that's kind of fresh in our mind as far as what your team is. And that was, I thought it was a good bounce back for you, because again, you had a lead and then it started to chip away, but it didn't really get that close where you were too worried about it. Your thoughts on the Viterbo?
Yeah, I thought our start was disappointing. Obviously, to have to call timeout at 9-0 wasn't the way we wanted to start. Again, we want to try to dictate and impose our will on people to start the game and frustrate them, and we didn't do that. And then we're just not making shots. I mean, we were 12 of 41 from the three, and if you're going to shoot 41 threes, you better do it at a better clip than 29%. If you look through 6 games, I think we're shooting just over 40% as a team, and that's a recipe for death. I mean, defensively, through 6 games, we've been okay overall. Teams are shooting about 40% against us, and that's a great recipe for success. But not if you're shooting 40% as a team. And we're not finishing near the rim very well, whether it's on drives or post-ups. And then we just haven't shot the ball as well as we have in the past. I mean, we've been a team that has really used the 3-point line as a huge weapon. We've done it pretty efficiently, and we've done it in high volume. And we're still high volume in attempts, but not in makes right now. And so we've got to clean up that end of the floor. But, the Viterbo game, I thought, gave again a chance, one, to rest Luke Martins. He's been dealing with a core injury that isn't really getting any better. I would have loved to rest Owen King. He's dealing with an Achilles injury. Really couldn't afford to last night. I felt like we needed his leadership out there, and he did a nice job with 8 assists and no turnovers. But overall, it was a good game for us. We needed to play that game after Tuesday's game with Upper Iowa, but we got to be much better as we get into Thursday.
All right. Now, we've gotten a taste of this from last year and then to this year, Connor Drew and Drew Adams, and they're spectacular players. They seem to sub out for each other. Yep. Are you going to have them in the game at the same time anytime during the season, or are they just going to kind of mirror each other?
Yeah, I think both of them, with the way we play, are strictly 5s, for us. So they're going to split time there. We felt like we needed to bring somebody else in, so we brought in Leo DeCampo to give us at least a little more depth there, whether it's injury or foul trouble in a particular game. Connor Drew's made some good positive strides, and so has Drew Adams. We like what they bring to the table for us. But with the way we play, especially with as many threes as we shoot, but more so on the defensive end of the floor, we switch 1 through 4, and those two probably aren't in a position to do that defensively for us. So I don't anticipate those two playing together unless we would just change our style of play a little bit.
Okay. In the Viterbo game, we saw a little bit more of James Kelly and Devin Fielding. Tell us a little bit about what those players bring to the squad.
Yeah, Devon's been really good. Obviously, local player from La Crosse Central, was a really good player on their state runner-up team last year, and I think he's got a ton of potential. I think he's going to be a really good player. He's a freshman, and so you have some really good moments with freshmen, and you have some challenging moments with freshmen. It's a hard adjustment. You got to learn how to play at a much higher rate in terms of your intensity level, your toughness level, and he's done a good job of that, but he's got to get better. And so I think we'll see, some continued growth there. We need to see continued growth there because we're going to need him to play. James, played the Parkside weekend a little bit, and then played a little bit last night. Did not play against Upper Iowa. James is a very talented young man. He rebounds the ball well. He was a junior college guy that then went to University of Illinois Springfield last year. I think the way we ask of our guys in terms of a mental effort and then physical effort has been a challenge for James so far. And so until he gets to be a little more consistent doing those things, we need him out there, and the things he brings to the table we don't have on our team. But he's going to need to be a little more consistent with the day-to-day effort before I probably put him out there for more minutes.
Okay. We've kind of hinted at what's coming up on Thursday with Minnesota State Mankato. Obviously a big game to have early on in the season, and then you don't face them again until the end of February on the road. What do you expect from this Thursday?
They're really good. We saw them down in Kansas City. They're 7-0, really talented starting 5. They got the big guy protecting the rim defensively, and he can dunk anything near the rim. And then they've got 4 really good offensive players around him as starters. Brady Williams, local guy from Dover Yoda, and the 2 Willingham brothers. And then they've got a Division I transfer in Moore from Morgan State, who started out at Cincinnati. And then they bring in Harrison Broadus, who hurt us last year at their place, and he's been really, really good for them off the bench. So we've got our hands full. We've got to be really good defensively. We're going to have to, get them to miss shots. We're going to have to rebound the ball against a team that's going to be much bigger than us. And then, like I said, at the end of the day, we're going to have to be really good and much better than we've been offensively.
And then last question, on the coaching staff, you bring back Caleb Wagner, a familiar face. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's been great. He's a worker, just like he was as a player. He's a worker. We probably don't put enough on his plate because he gets stuff done in a really efficient manner. He wants to get more into athletic administration. If he catches the coaching bug, that'd be great. But he also knows he's way too smart to get into coaching and can be making a lot more money doing something outside of coaching. But I think if he could, he'd like to pursue something in athletic administration. That's what he got his master's in down at Madison the last 2 years. And this was a way to stay involved in athletics until he could kind of find something that he's looking for.
All right, very good. Well, I appreciate the time, and good luck against Minnesota State on Thursday.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Justin.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk women's basketball with new head coach Ana Wurtz. That's coming up right after this.
The Command IQ app helps me manage the Wi-Fi in every room of the house however I want. Like this room, where my wife talks to her friends in her book club every week. She's my best friend.
Okay, but time out. Have you seen the abs on the latest Bachelor? My husband used to have abs, but now he just has flabs.
I don't know. Now, he says he works out, but I think...
It's not a book club meeting, it's a make fun of me meeting. Well, what happens in book club doesn't always stay in book club. So?
Oh. Darla? Honey, my Wi-Fi is down. That never happens.
Well, that's strange. Well, we'll see if we can get someone to come fix it next month.
Okay, but what am I supposed to do about book club?
I don't know. Maybe read a book? Command IQ, you're my new best friend.
Jenny Siseski of Edina Realty. With nearly 30 years' experience, she knows that right now is the best time to sell your home. Jenny will help you get top dollar, higher than ever before. With today's low interest rates, it's time to upgrade your home and increase its value. High demand and low inventory also make this a perfect time to list your home. Call for a free market analysis. Contact Jenny Siseski at Edina Realty today, 507-458-7038.
I'm a pretty calm, cool, and collective guy, but... Sorry, what's your name? Yeah, Evan. Hi, Evan. Yeah, we have no internet. Nothing. I don't know. It just stopped working.
The internet is down.
I know, I'm on the phone with them. No, that was my wife.
I can't get online again.
Yeah, I'm talking to Evan. No, my daughter, my wife. Okay, can you guys not talk? Sorry. Yes, we have the white boxes. I see one. They got horns on them.
The one with the horns.
Yes, I see one. We have 11 of those.
I was on the phone and I got disconnected.
Okay, it's not about you. We switched our broadband service provider. Devin put in 11, Evan. How are we supposed to know which one's 7 and which one?
I thought it was Devin.
Who's Devin? I got no service.
Honey, you're blocking.
You can't stand there. You're blocking it. Don't block it. And the best part, I never have to speak to Evan or Devin ever again.
I think this one's 11.
11? We're not looking for 11. No, are we looking for 7, Evan, or 11? We have 2 next to each other. That's bad. 2 white boxes. Evan?
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here at HBC TV 25. We are coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Studios, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona, and we are brought to you by Russell and Associates. Time now to talk women's basketball with new head coach Ana Wurtz. Thanks for joining us here today.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
Let's go backwards a little bit and talk about when Coach Scott Ballard announced his retirement. Was that kind of a shock to you? Did you kind of know that was going to be coming?
I think a little here and there, he had been slowly kind of letting me do more and more as far as, X's and O's go and within the program. So I think, it was just, when was the time going to be right for him and what makes sense. And I keep checking in with him. It sounds like he's hunting, fishing, hanging out with his grandkids and loving life. So I'm glad that, he found the right time for himself.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to get that update about Coach Ballard. So I know, like last year with COVID times, you were able to step into the head coaching role a little bit. How is it different from stepping in for a game or two last year to having the whole program to yourself this year?
Oh man. Well, one, I just miss Coach Ballard and having him around. I think people that know him, he just has a sense of humor. He's just a fun, awesome person, and we just had a lot of fun together. So that part, honestly, a little bit, he would help keep me in check a little bit because I can get fairly intense and locked in, and he's really good at just taking things as they are. His one of his big quotes was always, "It's never as good as it seems or as bad as it seems." And he was really good at navigating highs and lows. And so I think I definitely missed that about him. I could use that.
Do you take half-court shots during practice?
I do not. I have not replaced that. I have not taken a half-court shot since I've been here.
Okay, very good. Let's talk about adding to your coaching staff then. Hannah McGlone comes back. She was an assistant, a graduate assistant alongside you and Coach Ballard for a couple of years and then left and now is back kind of the same way that you did things when you were a graduate assistant. What's it like to have Hannah back on the staff?
Yeah, well, what a natural progression for our program. She just steps right in, and we had camp right away, and I remember showing up and the scoreboard was up, everything was out for camp, and I hadn't even said a word. She's just taken over, just stepped right in. It's just been a natural role for her. And our players love her, and they should, because she's an incredible leader. She's an incredible basketball mind, honestly, is one thing. She sees the game at a really fast-paced level, which is really impressive to me. So I really trust her a lot. When she sees something, I almost trust her more than myself sometimes because of how she just has a really high basketball IQ.
Okay. How has the scheme of the team, the overall scheme, stayed the same from when Coach Ballard was here to you taking over? Did you try to reinvent the wheel, or how did things work?
Not really. And as time went on, like I said, Coach really let me start kind of putting my own print on the program at the end of his career, and so I've really just kind of gone off from there. So I wouldn't say a lot. I think people watching right now, you'll see a couple things. We're not hitting our free throws, and our turnover margin isn't fantastic. So I don't think he'd be super proud of what that looks like right now. But other than that, I think most everything is pretty much the same.
It always amazes me, head coaches, no matter what it is, there's always something negative there. You're 7-0. You have started 7-0. What's it like to have that kind of a start to the year?
It's nice, but like I said, it's more fun to win when learn while you're losing. Okay. And we still have plenty to learn, trust me. You're catching me right off of I came right from watching some film. We've got a big week ahead with Mankato Concordia. Mm-hmm. So we've still got plenty of work to do, but it's been fun. Obviously, yeah, you'd much rather learn while you're winning.
Okay, well, we'll get to the preview for next week a little bit later on in this segment, but I want to talk about the first time that you get on the court and you have to play Iowa State, mm-hmm. which I believe at the time top 10 team, obviously mm-hmm. Division I. What was that like, and what did you learn from losing against Iowa State?
Yeah, well, I think we want that game back, if I'm being honest with you. We had some really unforced turnovers. I mean, it's apparently showing up still today, but we were not uncomfortable in that game, but we did have some travels. We stepped out of bounds, just some goofy things. But I knew the second that ball tipped that we were playing one of the best teams in the country, mm-hmm. And they're going to be. You're going to see them, and probably lead Final Four. Sure. So they're fantastic. We've been continuing to watch. Their games moving forward. I just watched them the other day. I mean, they're beating most teams in Division I teams by 30, 40 points. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was the real deal. We showed up and played there. But it was a great experience. The Hilton Coliseum, they really packed that gym in. We had thousands of fans for our first game. So.
Nice. Very good. Let's talk about the NSIC Coaches Poll that came out. I don't know as far as how much you pay attention to the poll, but obviously there were question marks about the team coming in because Taylor Husted was gone and Emma Fee was gone. Mm-hmm. And so people didn't know what this team was going to be all about. What was your reaction to seeing where other coaches thought you were going to be this year?
I mean, I love it. I love when people pick us as the underdog. So I certainly didn't mind that. And I think people should know at this point. I mean, we do develop our players. That's been a thing since Coach Ballard has been here, is every single year when we lose people, somebody else is ready and stepping up, and that this year is no different. We've had a lot of players that maybe didn't get their time in the past, but they're ready because of the work they were putting in while they were waiting. Okay, and then you come back after the Iowa State game to play St. Mary's, and I think what really struck us looking at this team, especially with the poll that came out, was how cohesive your team was, and how it looked like you had already played a half a season before you got on the court. What was your reaction to the St. Mary's game? That's good to hear. I mean, I'm glad people are seeing that, because they do. It's just an awesome group of people that we have in our program, and they're just fun. They enjoy being around each other all the time. We're just having a lot of fun together. I think it helped for us to go on, a Puerto Rico trip, mm-hmm. and we were on the road for the first, it felt like 12 so many days. It was just, we were on a bus and traveling together, and we're having a lot of fun together.
All right, tell us a little bit about Puerto Rico. 3 games, 3 wins down there. What was that trip like for you guys?
I think we nailed it, honestly, as far as trips go. 1, you come back with 3 victories, so you can't get any better than that. But also found a lot of opportunities in there to have some fun. So whether we walked to the beach was minutes walking distance for us. We had a wonderful pool at our hotel that they certainly enjoyed and took over. We went ziplining the last day that we were there. We just found a lot of time and filled a lot of holes. A lot of our families came, which was really fun. We had a really great turnout that way. So it was fun that we just had a lot of our people around us, and it's a great trip.
So was that a big bonding experience then? I mean, did this team really come closer together early on in the season, being in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they've already been close. We've been close since day one, it feels like. Mm-hmm. But of course, that's not going to hurt you. Exactly. Bonding, laying in the airports at 2 a.m. and going ziplining together and stuff like that. Certainly, we continue to grow.
All right, and then the trip to Quincy, a couple of big wins there as well.
Yeah, those are big ones too, because it came down, at least with the Quincy game, it came down tight. So not only did we get to see that we've got a new group of players on the floor, we have a new group of players that are ready to win tight basketball games. So that was fun for us coaches to see that we already have some players that wanted to step up and take over, and that was missing. We were missing Carpenter and Shimmons during that, but we had plenty of other pieces.
Okay, and then first NSIC contest is Upper Iowa, and you win that handily. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, Upper Iowa's a really solid team
Yeah.
right now. So that is a very good win for us. I know you spoke earlier, but as a coach, I can find plenty of holes. So
Yes.
I can't say I was particularly happy with the way that we were focused that game, but yeah, we spread the ball. We spread the wealth. We got a lot of people that can knock down shots, and I was actually listening to your show last night, and I think you're correct. I don't think we have one player on the team this year that's going to be it, the player. We have many that could step up, and I think that can be really dangerous.
Yeah, that's the other thing, obviously, that we're struck with, was that you go to the bench and you don't miss a beat at all. I mean, it's incredible how everybody is ready to be on the floor, ready to play, and hit big shots.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a huge plus to you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's fun. I mean, you want to play. All these people, all these girls are putting in time and they're working hard. You want them to get that opportunity, and they have taken advantage of it.
Okay. And what's it like when somebody struggles and then somebody else picks somebody up? Because I know for last night for the Viterbo game that we had, Caitlin Riley didn't get the 3 points going.
Yeah.
Somebody else steps in and hits things right away.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a sign of a pretty good basketball team. When you have someone coming off the bench that's just going to step up and do what you can do. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, just a couple minutes left in this segment, so we want to talk about Minnesota State and Concordia, but don't want to look too far ahead. Let's take Minnesota
Right.
State on
Okay.
Thursday. What are you expecting to see on Thursday?
A completely different brand of basketball. That's Mankato. They're looking to turn you over. So I'd say with our 18 turnovers last night against Viterbo, we got to clean that up because Mankato turns people over, at least in past years, 30 times a game. So we need to, 18 would be a good number, quite honestly, against Mankato. They just play a totally different style of basketball. They're going to force you into turnovers. You just got to take care of the ball. You will get open shots, but they feel a little hurried and uncomfortable. They're just not in your natural shooting type that you normally get. But yeah, we're ready. I know we've already been talking about them. You kind of have to talk about a team like that because it's a style of play that you don't see any other time of the year until now. So yeah, we've already been focused on that.
So they're expected to be pretty good too, and then you don't see them again until the end of February, which will be your last road game. How difficult is that, or is that a plus to be able to face them early in the year and then have to face them towards the end of your schedule?
Yeah, honestly, I've never thought about it. I'm not sure. You just take them as they come. Next team up, and who do we have next? But I like that we're playing them now. I like that they're on the Thursday because you need a little extra time to prepare for a team that does something so different. Concordia, not that they're not tough, they definitely always are, but to have the 1 day in between, we have to play our game versus them. Mankato makes you play a different style of basketball, so we like that we've had this a couple days here that we can start locking in.
All right, last question for you. We've seen you rotate in a lot of players, and early in the season we kind of think, okay, you're trying to figure out who you have and what you're going to be able to get. Do you foresee yourself going 10, 12, 14 deep during the regular season, or is that just a thing that you do in the preseason right now?
Yeah, well, I think you're right on that. I'm sure people think I'm a little off on the subbing patterns that I've had lately, but it is. It's got to be clear, and I didn't know early on if it wasn't clear. So there's certain things that we don't give up within our defense. So if you see something, we get a quick pull. That's usually what it is, and they understand that. But I definitely want to give them an opportunity. Moving forward, it's not that they're done for the night, but we like to just, we got to get locked in. You got to focus on that. Can't happen again, but you're going to get another shot at it. I don't know how deep we'll go. Every coach, I want to say 10, 12 deep would be awesome. I hope so. But I'm not sure yet. I think when we get into the heart of our conference season, we're going to really find out.
All right. Well, congratulations on the start of the season so far, and thanks for coming in to tell us about it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for joining us here on the Warrior Report, and we will see you next time here on HBC TV 25.